happy new month. Wow, it's already the last quarter of the year. God has been so good, it's been so amazing. So today quickly we're going to part 2 of what we started discussing last week, and that was maximizing your time. Last week we looked at how to actually utilize and maximize our time, because we know that every one of us have 24 hours. Sometimes, just like myself in my life, at some point in time, I felt like 24 hours was just too short. In fact, that I needed more, like maybe 72 hours or more in a day. But however, I've been able to understand how much time I have and how I'm able to maximize it. And last week we talked about some of the things that can help us. So number one was identifying what your priorities are. You need to know what you want, get clear about your goals. Get so clear and specific about your goals, what you really want to achieve, and obviously allocating the right time to them, knowing that, okay, you need to achieve these goals during a particular period of time. Number 3 was to schedule those goals in your calendar. What you don't schedule, you will never do. And then number 4 was to understand and honor your energy circles, whether you are a night owl or you're someone that is an early riser, or obviously during the day, and then be able to plug yourself into what fits you and work with that, because definitely every one of us is different. So today, part 2, so we'll be looking at 4 more things. You can call it number 1 or number 5, depending on if you've watched the previous video. But if you have not, I'll encourage you to go and watch it. So today, the first thing is recognize and avoid everything that is called distraction. Those distractions are time stealers. Whatever it is, you need to know your own, because what is yours could be different from another. Some people, it might be unnecessary emails. Some people are spending so much time on social media, probably on Instagram or Facebook. Yes, those things are tools to help us even in our, it's on our social life, depending on what your goal is, or your business, or different areas of life. But however, you need to understand how they are stealing your time as well. It could be TV, it could be, so different things. So you need to recognize those things, because as little as spending 30 minutes or more on all those social media platforms, sometimes you're just there and you're scrolling, and before you know it, 2 hours of your time has gone, of which you can use tangibly to actually, develop yourself or work on a project. So you need to understand those time stealers and put an override button over them, like avoid them. Now, for me, one of the things that I have done that have been able to help me is setting a timer, because I know that sometimes when I go to social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all the other, social medias, of which maybe some of them I don't even go to them, like TikTok and all that. So let's leave that aside. But for example, let me say Instagram. I decided to set a timer on my phone that says that, after 15 minutes max, if I've used 15 minutes, the social media for that day, it cuts off. Sometimes I don't even use up to that. So really, it has helped me. So it's like a reminder that once you have spent this time, I think in a day, you shouldn't spend more than that time. And even those times, I put them in my schedule. Last week, we talked about putting your activities in your schedule. So when I put, for example, I want to read for 90 minutes, I put it in my schedule. After 90 minutes, the break time that is there, I could, so those break times, short breaks time, I could put, check my emails. It's like a break, just off, those things, or, post something on Instagram, like that. So when you recognize those distractions, you need to see how to avoid them. Sometimes, for me, I put the phone out of the room of where I am, where I'm doing a work that requires my total focus and attention. For example, maybe I want to study my Bible, I want to pray, and I don't need my phone. At that time, I take the phone and put it away in another room. Sometimes I even give it to my husband. I say, you know what, hold this for me till I am ready, and then I'll come pick it up. So you need to recognize your distractions and avoid them. The more you recognize it and avoid them, the more you're able to save time to be able to add to the time that you don't even have to be able to achieve your goals. The other thing there is organizing your workspace. There's nothing as disorganizing or a time stealer like working in an environment that is disorganized. Especially if you're working, not only when you're working with papers, but you can imagine, I'm just using that as a scenario. You're working, you need a lot of documents, and you're working with different documents at different times, and your workspace is disorganized, and you need to work on a particular paper at this particular time, and you're using like 30 minutes to look for that particular document just because your workspace is not organized. One thing that kind of unorganized environment does to you is that it actually, even mentally, you feel disorganized. Not only does your physical space look physically disorganized, it could be where you work, but also your own personal space, your room, your home, your everywhere. If it is neat enough, if it is organized, then you'll be able to find what you need to use at a particular time. For example, you can imagine if my house is disorganized and I put the key of my car anywhere at any particular time, and then I need to go out to pick my children from school at 3:15, and then at that 3:15 or 3:12, then I'm like, okay, where's the car key? Where's the car key? And then I look for the key for the next 10 minutes because I don't have a designated place for the car key to be. That is what a disorganized space can do to a human, and it is actually a time stealer. So try as much as possible to make sure that your workspace is organized. Have things that you work with in designated areas. Just the same way, even in your home, the kitchen is the kitchen. You can imagine if the things in the kitchen are now in the bedroom, then you can imagine how disorganized that is. But that's an extreme case. But as much as possible, you have this drawer for these things, you have this drawer for this, so that when you're looking for it, you know where it is and you're able to pick it. There's nothing that saves time as much as that. Then the third thing is simplify your to-do list. For example, if you have an unrelated task that you have put in your schedule that you're going to do at so time, probably 9 a.m., when you understand that this task is going to take me 30 minutes, you can allocate like 45 minutes, give a buffer, but you need to know how much time what you want to do is going to take. Sometimes it might require you to actually time yourself doing those tasks, especially if they are repetitive tasks. And then as you begin to do it, you'll be able to know how long time it's going to take. For example, the work that I do as an hairdresser, there's some, most of the work that I do currently, because I've done them over time, I know how much time, probably 90 minutes or 270 minutes or 4 hours to be able to do a particular hairstyle. And then that time I just put it there, that if a client books it, I know that it's within 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. that I'm doing this hair. I wouldn't get to book another client during that time because I know that I need this number of hours to do that. So it makes your to-do list for that day simplified. Once you have them, you allocate the right time, the amount right of time for that task to be done, and you get them done. Then finally, the last thing that I'm going to drop today is plan your next day the night before. It has helped me a whole lot. The night before I sleep, it's done, and you get them done. Then finally, the last thing that I'm going to drop today is plan your next day the night before. It has helped me a whole lot. The night before I sleep, even tonight before I sleep, because today is a Sunday for me, I plan the whole week. But however, before I get to go to bed, I plan tomorrow. Even though I know that tomorrow I have laid down plan, but I then I write them down. It first of all clears my mental space for me to have a good night's sleep, because I already have my tomorrow planned. And secondly, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I wake up with renewed energy, knowing what to do and knowing when to do it, and then I go for it. And that, saves me time. It saves me, a lot of energy, because I know it's not like in the moment I'm thinking, okay, what am I supposed to do next? What am I supposed to do next? Because I already planned it the night before, then it makes it easier to be able to, work with that plan the next day. Even though, yes, sometimes some things may come up, and that's why I have buffer space in between them to be able to accommodate those things. But however, it also helps you to be able to know that this is what you have to do at so time. So if anything comes up that is not in your schedule and that is not important to you and is not urgent and is not taking you closer to your goals, you know that, it's not part of my plan for today, then I can reschedule it for another day if it is necessary. I hope that really, really helps us. I want us to be able to, put all these things into consideration, see how we can use these tools to be able to maximize our time and then be able to achieve our goals. God bless you and see you again.